Hey, welcome to Crafty Music Tips. My name is Crafty and I'm a full-time musician, and I like doing these reaction videos looking at really successful artists really early on in the career because, you can just learn so much from it. So in this video, we're going to check out some Metallica.
It's a heavy metal group, Metallica something.
Car.
Huh?
What? Car.
Earliest known Metallica recording. Well, we better watch that one then, hey? Oh, I love that. So this is definitely early Metallica. This is Mustaine wailing away, and you've got Cliff Burton. Sounds like he engaged the wah going wah. Let's have a listen again. Yeah.
And you're not.
All right, so we'll get to watching more of their actual performance really soon, but I just wanted to quickly say that how envious I am of how lucky everybody there got to be able to see Metallica, before they were a household name, and seeing Mustaine and the great Cliff Burton. And it looked like when James was ready for this song to start that he looked over and Lars was just a second before being able to count in, whereas ordinarily, the band that became the household name would have had that down. Everything would have been in time. It would have, been a lot more slick, stadium style. But anyway, we will carry on watching. Yeah, interesting. Wow, lots of Marshall stacks there. So yeah, it does make sense actually that they would be different lyrics because the song wasn't called Four Horsemen yet at this stage. I'm assuming when Mustaine left the band and they were about to record Kill 'Em All, they probably were thinking, oh crap, well we don't have enough songs, enough original material to be able to put on our first album.
1, 2, 3, 4!
Oh my God, we don't know any songs.
Must have been easier to rearrange the lyrics around to be called The Four Horsemen. How's old mate Rhodey or Bass Tech just hanging out here? That's a nice privilege to be able to be on stage with Metallica, just like having your head on the amp. You'd get a pretty good idea of how the song sounded. Actually, you'd feel it if your head was right on the amp. I see. So when it was the Four Horsemen, when it changed to that, they had that slower, quieter breakdown section, which then had an extra solo by Kirk Hammett. So yeah, so I'm seeing how they evolved over time. Actually, I'm not too sure of the dates. If this was March 1983, I'm not too sure when Kill 'Em All was recorded and how much longer Dave Mustaine was in the band for. But you can definitely tell a bunch of things have evolved. So one of the things that I've noticed watching this already is just how youthful and how raw and how much energy they've got, youthful enthusiasm. It's not to say that they didn't put in a lot of energy when they got older and that they still do now. It's fantastic. But I'm assuming that this wouldn't have been a 3-hour show like what they can do now, you know. And also James's voice has changed and matured, and it's got a different tonal attributes to it as he's gotten older. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to see how much energy that they had in the beginning. And obviously they wanted to keep up that youthful energy as much as they could with their age and just evolving as a band. That's the Mustaine attitude. I remember reading an interview where Kirk Hammett was talking about what it was like for him joining the band, and it was, I think, 3 weeks later they were in the recording studio recording Kill 'Em All. And so you got to hand it to Kirk Hammett. He did such a great job. I guess one of the things that he did do is he was able to learn and take as much of the Mustaine lickery as he could. And so it's really nice to hear Mustaine's initial lick there in that solo. You know, it's like a diminished run or something like that. And so Kirk would have heard that and would have thought, yeah, I like that, and I'm keeping that, obviously. And then he would have done a bunch of things his own way after that. Ooh, and a different ending as well. How's that? At an actual Metallica show, you're hearing tuning. You would never hear that these days. It sounds like they were in standard and they're tuning down to E flat.
Let's talk about evil, little motherfucker! Wasn't that cute? Let's talk about evil, little motherfucker! We call him the Phantom Lord!
Oh, he's tuning up. He's taking a while tuning up.
How you guys doing out after tonight. Anybody getting sweaty besides little cunts that threw the shirts up at me? They're neat, whoever you were. God, believe me, to part with your little shirts to hit me. Oh, yay.
Well, that's definitely something that Kirk Hammett didn't take on board. I don't know if I've ever heard him talking to the microphone. Maybe just at like the end of the big concert when everyone's clapping and then they each just say a thank you at the end. I think that's the only time I've ever heard Kirk use a microphone on stage. So that's a great thing. Obviously, Dave Mustaine was a front man himself in his own right, waiting for the opportunity, I guess, to be able to do so. I mean, I do hear that he regrets not being given a second chance in Metallica, but there's blessings and curses to every single thing in this entire universe, and his blessing was that he was able to get a chance to be able to realize his destiny as a frontman, and he does such a great job at it. And I guess that's one of the really good things that he's showcasing here, is that the other two guys, they're off tuning or doing something technical, and so rather than it being like really awkward, he's there talking to the crowd and making sure that, you know, everybody's attention is still there, and it's kind of like radio. You don't want to have dead air, and so Mustaine's doing a fantastic job of it now. I wonder what else he's going to say.
This is a fucking song about the Phantom Lord.
All right, so it's definitely getting awkward now. You know, Mustaine thought he was doing the right thing and just going, okay, well, I guess I'll just take a few moments here to chat and then I'll introduce the song. And he introduced the song for the second time, not being full aware that actually they're still not ready. And this is a really important note to make, that when you are on stage, and if it is your job to talk to the crowd in between songs, it's really important to just quickly check, like, are they ready? If I announce the next song, you know, most of the time, the rest of the band will be ready, and it'll just be boom, and it'll be slick, and it'll be awesome. You know, it happens every so often. You know, you're just like, okay, what do I do? And so it's really important to have a bunch of things to say up your sleeve.
Why don't you come up here, tough guy?
Okay, so picking a fight could be one of the things to have up your sleeve. It looks like James is ready now. So yeah, just on that, if you're somebody that usually speaks in between the songs, or if you're someone that isn't the usual speaker between songs, but you would like to be able to, you know, come in and support if there's something going wrong, just like what Mustaine was doing there, leave me a comment below. You know, what are some things that you might say? What are some good go-tos that anybody can do? Obviously, the, how you all doing tonight? That's a good one. But, you know, if, no, they're still not ready, you know, you need to have some more backups up your sleeve. So jokes is one. And look, like there's plenty more. Let me know. What do you reckon? All right, now, so they were starting Phantom Lord. I'd love to hear what an early performance with Kirk Hammett sounds like and looks like in comparison. All right, so that definitely looks like Kirk Hammett there, and it's live in Chicago, 1983 in August. So what's that, 5 months after the Mustaine gig that we just saw from March. Let's check out this gig. Oh, yeah. What has he got there? Mineral water, I'm sure.
It's very refreshing.
Wow, so they were doing this introduction music this early on. It's such a good introduction song. Do artists still do that? I reckon they should if they don't. You know, it's such a good way to get you pumped up. People can just walk on stage, but, you know, kind of everyone does that. Have something a little bit more special.
Said, is everyone ready to fall to their knees? For whom? For the Phantom Lord!
All right, here we go. Phantom Lord. 5 months later. All right, so what are the differences there between the Mustaine era and this early Hammett era? Well, you know, like, obviously this is a better quality video recording, so it's a better mix that we can hear. So it's going to seem like it's better, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's that different necessarily, because if we had a really good sound recording and video recording of the Mustaine one and not as good of this later one here, well then, you know, the perception is all relative, innit? So one thing that I will say is that, gee, Kirk has a really great tone. That note just fed back just ever so perfectly. And Mustaine was definitely, you know, like, he had a lot of energy in speaking in between the songs and all of that. But, I mean, apart from that, though, the sounds and the appearance is really quite similar. Now that's interesting. I don't know if you heard it, but it sounded like one of the guitarists were out, and it's interesting. As soon as I noticed that James has stopped playing. So what he might have done there is he might have realized, oh crap, I'm out. So why don't I just stop and let Kirk take that nice quiet part, and I will make up for it and take the potential attention away from the fact that I'm out of tune. Let's just have a quick listen to see if that's what you think that he did. That's great. What an absolute professional. You know, James Hetfield's in his, early 20s here, and he already knows, look, some stuff goes wrong, but it's a really good indicator that he knows exactly what he's doing here. He's an absolute professional already so early on in his career. He knows, oh crap, I'm out of tune. And then in order to make it seem like that he hasn't just stopped because he's out of tune, then he just plays low root notes on the low E string so that he can be adding something on the guitar and avoiding the out of tune string. Legend. Well, he's only on power chords now, so he's safe. Now, one thing that I would have done there is, I don't know if you can hear this, but I can hear that, okay, James' G string is definitely out of tune. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Let me just get a guitar here. Now let's get my G out of tune. So yeah, obviously the E and the G power chords sound fine because they only use the E, A, and D strings, whereas the G string should sound like this, but let's face it, we all have these oops moments happen on stage. What do you do to be able to get out of it? Now, James could have done two things here that he hasn't done. One of which is he could not change the way he plays it incredibly, just subtly changes it. Instead of it being a 3-note power chord, like that, you can just get rid of the G and just do 2-note power chords. Like that. Or he could have changed the choice of strings in which he's playing these power chords on to be up from here. So it could be like that. Just a little quick tip for you guitarists if you ever experience that, what do I do? I'm out of tune feeling on stage. Now that's interesting. Is this a piece of gaffer tape or duct tape that's covering James's pickup on the neck there? It's interesting. All right, is he tuning up? I hope so. All right, so there's a bunch of things that we can learn from watching such a big superstar band in their younger days. When they're playing these days, we don't hear little oops moments like being out of tune, or somebody, probably James, announcing what the next song is going to be called, and then, oh, the other guys in the band aren't ready. Watching this, obviously, already at this stage, they're really good. I mean, like, how good's their songwriting? They're still playing these songs today after so many years. It's because they're really, really good. And obviously, they had a great energy and they really knew their look. They were really together as one unit. It wasn't a bunch of different types of people all just kind of trying to exist together on the stage. It was 4 people that were really together as a team. But it's those little things that they would have developed and worked on over time, you know, doing lots and lots and lots of concerts and lots of touring and recording. You know, you can't help but learn and get better at your craft just by constantly showing up, you know, and doing it. And so they would have just gradually elevated their level of slickness on stage. So there we have it. Did you learn anything from watching this? I know I learned something. You know, I learned that, you know, Metallica needed to spend lots and lots of time on stage in order to be able to really develop. And, you know, it makes me feel okay as a human being, not being as successful as Metallica. I know that if I can just keep working at it myself, well, then I will just be able to keep getting closer and closer towards whatever my goal is. And that's something that you can take solace in the fact of as well.
Well, you keep at it.
Now, I don't know about you. I reckon definitely after signing off, I'm going to go and watch the rest of this concert because, you know, early Metallica is just so raw and good. But I reckon that I'm done here reacting to the fantastic band that is Metallica in their early days. I've learnt something and I hope that you have too. Now, Crafty Music Tips is a YouTube channel that goes through a heap of different subjects. So if there's something else that you're interested in, go check out one of those videos. But if that's still not enough, I've just got one more thing to offer you. It's a free gift, which is called 5 Steps to Fast Improvement. Now, whatever stage that you're at in your musical journey, you've probably felt like the way that I have, which is that, you know, every now and then you're just like, I'm just not improving at the rate that I would like to. The reason why it happens at any point in time is because we get a little bit confused or a little bit lost. It's like that feeling of chasing your tail. And so what I do is I lay it out really clearly in 5 clear steps of how you can improve at the rate that you want to improve at. So if that sounds like something helpful for you, well, I'll leave a link below to just go download it. It's free. So I hope that's helpful for you, and I hope this music tips video was helpful for you. I will hopefully see you in another helpful music video really soon. That was hard to say. Wherever you are, I hope that you're doing great in your music, and I'll see you in another video really soon. Take care.